It's been a little while since I had the opportunity to just kind of speak my mind. So, finals going on, things like that. But I'm not going to let that hold me back and let these thoughts stop. There's a book I had to read from my poetry class called Absence of Clutter, Minimal Writing as Art and Literature by Paul Steffens. I don't know if y'all can see that. But it's a quote. He actually got the quote from Steve Jobs. And it's at the beginning of chapter 3 of Absence of Clutter. And it says, why do we assume that simple is good? Because with physical products, we have to feel we can dominate them. As you bring order to complexity, you find a way to make the product defer to you. Simplicity isn't just a visual style. It's not just minimalism or the absence of clutter. It involves digging through the depth of the complexity. To truly be simple, you have to go really deep. And I find that to be very powerful, because the simple things in life always seem to hold the most weight or have the most value, to me at least, from my personal perspective. Both of my parents are educators. My grandma was an educator. So I learned very early on the simple way of looking at anything I want to get in this world. Whether if I want to be good academically, athletically, mentally, regardless of what it is, I learned at an early age a simple algorithm that works for me when I tend to overcomplicate things or just overthink things in my head. I always just kind of remember this small kind of principle when I'm trying to achieve something. So it's very simple. Whatever you put in is what you're gonna get out. For example, if you got a B on a test, the effort you put in was worthy enough of a B. You know what I mean? Or if you lost a basketball game, even though it's a team sport, the effort that y'all put in collectively before the game is the reason why y'all lost. And it just kind of makes you think what if I went a little bit harder? Or what if I push myself a little bit more, push the team a little bit more? Or what if I just put in a little bit more so the outcome could have been more in my favor? And realistically, I look at everything in life like that. Regardless of my current situation, if I'm succeeding in college or succeeding in the clothing business or succeeding in whatever I'm trying to do, it always equates to the effort, the energy, the input that was inserted before. So, with that being said, I think sometimes as people, we tend to overcomplicate a lot of the reasons why we aren't where we want to be. Or we overcomplicate, or at least I do. I overthink. Dang, I've been working so hard. I've been doing this. I've been doing that. Why am I not at this level where I want to be at? And then, you can kind of go into this deep, long loophole of just you could blame others. You could blame yourself. I don't like excuses, so I tend to blame myself a lot. But then I ultimately get to a point where it's just let's look at the facts. This is what you did. This was your input, and this is the output. This is the outcome. Simply, and that's so deep, because for me, when I realize or think of it in that simple manner, the solution to my problem is a simple solution, was work harder, or is put in more input to get a better output. And the more I grow, the more I realize how important it is for us to just kind of simplify a lot of these hardships or a lot of our problems and a lot of these things that kind of hold us back from reaching our true potential. Kind of like what Steve Jobs says, is simple things, they are very complex and they are very deep and they are very, very hard to understand if you really look at it thoroughly. But I don't want to say it's wasting energy, but that a lot of that energy that you're going to put into trying to figure out, okay, why am I not here? What am I doing wrong? Like the effort that you're going to try to put into figuring that out, it could be used towards simply just working harder, or simply towards putting in more effort to get to where you want to be. And I say all this because I'm somebody who doesn't ever feel like they're working hard enough. And it's kind of paradoxical, because if I never feel like I'm working hard enough, it pushes me to continue to exceed levels that I ever thought that I could reach. At the same time, I question things, because it's like, I feel like I'm working hard, but I feel like I can go so much harder. So at what point is going to be me working at my hardest, and I'm still trying to figure that out. And at the end of the day, I'm just kind of venting, but actions go way past the words that come out my mouth. And I can talk all day about how much better I want to be, or how I can blame myself about the reason where I'm at in my life. But work speaks for itself, numbers speak for themselves, and results, they speak for themselves. I like the quote, "Still water runs deep," because when you're at your calmest state, you begin to see much more. You begin to self-reflect deeper. You begin to understand things from deeper perspectives and more thought-provoking perspectives. And it's almost like your perception just kind of shifts into, I wouldn't even say like a new reality, but just more so just like a deeper state of mind. And as I mature and as I grow, I've become more comfortable being in my deeper state of mind. I really want to get to that state where you ever just be in your groove, like you be in your bag for real, but regardless of like whatever you're doing, and everything just feels so natural, and it just feels like you just flowing through life. Like they call it, like people call it the flow state. I'm really trying to achieve that state with everything I'm trying to balance. At the beginning of this video, I said both my parents are educators, and so is my grandma, but school is school. It's not something that I necessarily super am ecstatic about, but I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna get through it. I think what I'm more passionate about right now is this clothing business and this message that we're trying to push. That's becoming like my growing passion, and where a lot of my energy is going towards on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not saying that knowledge or school isn't important, by no means, but I don't like the way how modern society educates students, especially now. You wouldn't believe it, but that's another conversation for another day. I will get this degree, get this piece of paper, and move on with my life. But at the same time, I also want to work towards something that I'm passionate about, and that's gonna not only benefit myself, but benefit those around me, and benefit the people I love, and hopefully, impact the world. When it comes to Lost Genius Society, it's tricky because it's a new way. What we're trying to push is a new way of kind of people looking at themselves, and even people looking at other people, in the sense of that they have the potential to do genius things. I don't feel like there's ever really been a super huge push, not recently at least, for just having like a genius mindset. And the way we're going about it is through clothing. So it's super complex, it's super tricky how we can kind of mix our themes, our message with clothing and fashion, and how we can, build an audience, or build an environment, or build a community, a society that really truly embraces what we're speaking about and understand what we're speaking about. Due time, we're gonna crack the code and figure it out, but it's all been a beautiful process, and it's not something that I ever thought would be easy, or would be something that's just gonna happen. I feel like the point we are right now with Lost Genius Society definitely is a good representation of the work we put in, because we're doing all right. We're not super ahead of the game or super crazy popularity wise yet, but I just feel like there's so much more work that needs to be done, and so much more knowledge that needs to be obtained, business wise, fashion wise, and even just this whole kind of theme of Lost Genius Society, and the whole message of what we're trying to push is there, but it's not like solidified. You know what I mean? We have good moments, but it's not consistent. We do some things right, but we don't do the little things right. And it's so many different points business wise that I can get into, but more so just about the whole topic of what Lost Genius Society means and how it's going to impact the world. It needs work, and we're not there yet. We got to keep working, and we got a lot of work to do, but I do believe we're going to get there. I do believe we're going to crack the code, and I do believe we're going to take some monumental steps in the near future. But it's going to take a shift. It's going to take a new way of adapting to kind of a new environment, and it's going to take us as a collective to try to really strangle out our bad habits and become more professional, become more business-like. And as that happens, not only in our personal lives, in our professional lives as well, then the whole theme and the idea of Lost Genius Society is going to grow with it as well. So it's dependent on us, We have a very bright future, but